Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for our webinar. My name is Santi and I work in the communications team here at Houzz. In this session, I'm going to talk about sustainability and why it's important to incorporate into your business and your projects. The editorial team had the opportunity to interview some of our professionals around the world about how they run their businesses sustainably, what they've learned along the way, and what challenges they face. So today we'll be discussing what makes a business sustainable, how to incorporate sustainability into projects, how to source products sustainably, and what are the challenges pros face. Let's start with what makes a business sustainable. Nowadays, both clients and the industry are more environmentally aware. Businesses are looking to incorporate sustainability into their projects. Some of the pros we've interviewed emphasize particular approaches as implementing solutions that lead directly to reducing energy and CO2 emissions, spurring forest revitalization, and reducing petroleum-based waste. The architect Yoko Kloden approaches the problem from another angle. To be a sustainable business, the business has to be profitable. Those builders who cut corners always resort to non-sustainable options as they feel they cannot be profitable without cutting corners. There are different ways to make a business sustainable, says Eva Chacon of Spanish firm Bonsai Arquitectos. The important thing is that we are all aware of the need to do things differently and that every person contributes their grain of sand. Another professional in house, Daisuke Sanada of Japanese firm Suwa Architects and Engineers, says, use natural energy with as little reliance on fossil fuels as possible. The materials we use should be compostable and of natural origin as much as possible. The next question we've asked the professionals is, what is their approach in terms of implementing sustainability in their business? Professionals are looking to incorporate sustainability into their projects, but even in their offices. The Australian architect Mark Bernstein told us they always try to set an example that inspires their clients and that leads the way. Otherwise, how can they expect their clients to do the right thing? He is currently building his own home, a passive house that will also produce more energy than it expands every year. When completed, it will be used as a show home and workshop space used to educate the public on sustainable architecture. German construction engineer Doug Schafashik instead has incorporated sustainable techniques into his office in a 1911 building his firm renovated. They use building natural materials like straw panels, clay and lime-based plaster, hemp insulation, granulated cork panels, lime wash paint, regionally ground oak and ebony wood. Let's move on to the second part. What are the initiatives that professionals put in place to incorporate sustainability into their projects? Firstly, why sustainability is good for businesses and what are the main advantages of running a sustainable business? According to the interviewees, there are several effects that environmentally friendly choices could have on a business. The main ones are saving on construction costs, lower office running costs, increases consumer trust, added value for the client, and increases innovation. There are specific actions that professionals are putting in place to incorporate sustainability in their businesses. Many of them apply their own methodology based on the highest level of certification standards. Others use energy design to create a thermal environment that avoids reliance on fossil fuels as much as possible. The French architect Tina Marquez told us, wherever possible, push further at the level of systems. For example, recycling rainwater for use in the washroom, heat pumps, etc. She also explained that it's important to work with companies that are sensitive to sustainable development. El Fakir and her studio, another pro on Houzz, takes a similar approach. They see it as a point of honor to use vintage or second-hand furniture, since it's much easier to find than it is used to be, she says. Recycling is a big emphasis, she says. So it leads us to the next question. How can pros source products sustainably? As both clients and the industry become more environmentally aware, businesses are looking to incorporate sustainability into their projects. A lot of the pros we spoke to shared their love of wood, for example. We build with an increasingly high percentage of natural materials. We are wood geeks especially. Chacon says. Chacon, a house professional who works actively to reduce impacts at all stages, shared with us some helpful tips. So the first one is regarding the location, reducing the impact of transportation, promoting local culture and economy, manufacturing. It is always better to use a material like many wood products that have a positive impact on the environment. Construction-wise, you want products that have a minimal footprint that cost almost no energy or water to use on site and that do not contribute to air pollution. The use, low maintenance, non-toxic materials that contribute to a healthy environment. And last but not least, disposal. Use materials that are designed to return to natural cycles, transforming into other materials or energy. Another professional, Bernstein, told us, a sustainable product should always be good for both the environment and for your health. So, for example, when designing joinery and specifying furniture for our clients' homes, we would always make sure we specify low emission materials. Where possible, we like to include planting into our designs as there are some plants that can cleanse the air and remove the small quantities of what's left in terms of off-gassing, which is a really cheap but great way to make a home more sustainable. Sonata and Milner noted that it's important to keep abreast with new developments. My clients are always interested in the latest innovations, and I am finding that now more than ever, sustainable products are becoming sought after. Important question pros want to know. What are the challenges when making a business more sustainable? Well, there are different challenges that pros can face when creating a sustainable business. The first challenge is on the construction. One of the pros we've interviewed, Bernstein, told us that traditionally the construction industry and a lot of its workers are not particularly known for an interest in green stuff. So getting everyone on board, even for simple things like separating construction waste into different bins to allow recycling on site, can sometimes be hard. The Italian architect from the company Mille Architects says the challenges are cultural and unfortunately economic. Not always, but sustainable products are slightly more expensive. Other pros think that the offerings in terms of technical equipment, especially for the kitchen, are still very limited and it is difficult to find environmentally friendly solutions. How has the pandemic impacted sustainability efforts? Most of the pros we spoke to have been working sustainably for years. While the pandemic didn't shift their own priorities, some have found their approach especially relevant. One of the pros we interviewed said, with COVID-19, we've probably been greener than before, with few miles on the road, no heating, cooling, an extra office as we've all been working from home. Bernstein says, other than that, I find that while sustainability has lost some of its media focus during the pandemic, people still think about it. Almost all of our clients want to do the right thing, and that is always encouraging and inspires us to create a better home for and a better world with them. Indeed, sustainability is really linked to care for the planet and the environment. So how to help clients choose sustainable materials? From plant-based services to those made from waste products, there's a vast array of sustainable home materials to choose from. First, use waste products. The aim for sustainability is driving manufacturers to become more and more innovative. The result is an ever-increasing range of materials that have been constructed from recycled products. Look out for kitchen worktops made from recycled glass, for instance. They consist of at least 90% glass that's been crushed and set into resin. Textile manufacturers are also using waste products to produce more sustainable items. Carpets made from recycled plastic bottles are a great example. And another piece of advice is that some of the pros said also to work with more wood. Timber is a good choice if you're looking for a sustainable material to use internally and externally, but it's important to source certified wood. You can reduce your carbon footprint by sourcing your timber locally. One of the most important tips is to reuse. A simple, sustainable approach is to use secondhand materials and products. Reclaimed items can be creatively upcycled into something quite beautiful. Also, grow your own. Plant-based materials are gaining ground in interiors, with manufacturers using natural products such as pineapple leaves and mushrooms to produce sustainable products. Last but not least, Go for soft and supple. Made from the bark of the cork oak tree, cork can be harvested every 10 years or so without any harm to the tree. It's also antimicrobial, hypoallergenic, biodegradable, and recyclable, and it can be used on internal walls, floors, and furniture. Its insulating properties also make it ideal for external walls. I'd like to mention that we're going to hand out a worksheet on the landing page you've accessed this video. You'll be able to use this worksheet to define your sustainability goals. It'll also help your business save money, improve your brand perception, and gain like-minded customers. Before wrapping up this session, I wanted to share a quote from a professional that said, "In my opinion, sustainability is less about one or two amazing products or services, but rather a collection of small-scale interventions that, when put together, can have a significant impact." That's all for today. Thank you again so much for joining this webinar. Don't hesitate to head to the story section on the houzz.com.au or houzz.co.nz page. If you have any questions about this webinar or the worksheet we shared with you, you can log a ticket in-house and the support team will contact you.